What's happening, everybody? My name is Otis McDonald, and this is Liner Notes. On today's episode, I'm going to take you through the creation process of Don't Speak from Aloe Blacc's new project, Rock My Soul. Yeah. Don't Speak, originally written and recorded by the California band No Doubt. When Aloe asked me to do this record, he highly encouraged me to really change the instrumental side of the music. Let's see if we can take a song that has a great melody and completely reharmonize what's happening in the chord progression underneath it, and then obviously change up the groove and everything. So what I did is I used this AI stem separation software called RipX, just so I could get Gwen Stefani's a cappella voice. So I had to do a little bit of manipulating to get it to line up to a grid. And then I just got behind the drum set and I played along with her voice. This was just to have inspiration. So then I had to think, okay, well, what key would be more comfortable for Aloe? And I went and pulled up one of his hit songs, in fact, probably his first hit song, which was called I Need $1. And I just matched her voice to that key. You and me. And you get this kind of funky, you can tell it's Gwen, but it's like this, it's almost eerie sounding. And then I just went behind my drum set and I played along to it. And there were certain things that she does, like every day together. Did you hear that? How my kick drum locks in with it? Her voice told me to do that. I just wanted to find a new pocket that was completely informed by her pocket. And that's all I had. I had drums and I had Gwen's voice. And I remember playing that for Aloe over Zoom. And he was so pumped about just the drums and the voice. He was like, oh man, there's something special there. Maybe we should do that. And I was like, yeah, we could do that. But let me see what I could do and see what kind of chords we could find under that. In comes my A-team, my wrecking crew. I play locally in a band called Atticid out here in San Francisco. We're all based around the Bay Area. And Atticid features Daniel Casares on tenor saxophone and Max Cowan on keyboards. It's their band, and I'm just happy to be along for the ride. And so I called up Max and said, hey, man, you want to come into the studio and help me figure out some new chords for Don't Speak? And I wanted Max to come in, and I wanted our guitar player, Jackson Allen, to come in. I already had the drums done, so I can be on bass. They can be on keys and guitar, and let's just sit around the room, and we'll cut up the different sections of the songs into loops. And that way, we can just play over one section for a long time. Now, I like to think of loops as sections of songs. That way, I can dig deeply into one section before I move on to the next section and find all the different parts. So I can go down and lay down drums for like 16 measures, and then it starts playing back immediately. And that way, I'm not sitting there and letting procrastination set in and then becoming a perfectionist and thinking, oh, I could do a better take or whatever. It hits me right away. I hear it. Oh, that sounds great. Let's move on to the next section. So that's how we approached arranging this song. So we just had my drums and Gwen's voice playing. I got out the bass. Boom, boom, boom. Max is on the Fender Rhodes. And we found something. It took a while. We messed around with a bunch of different chordal ideas. But I think where it really came together is when we decided we needed a lick. And that's where it all set off. I feel like that's where the inspiration really started to drive the rest of the song. I think Max Cowan wrote that lick. Our keyboardist wrote that lick. Yeah. Max was like, maybe something like this. And then, and then me and Jackson were like, yeah, that feels good on the strings. Let's do that. Max and I were in the control room listening back to it against Gwen's voice. And Jackson was sitting in the live room, and we had the chorus playing, and Jackson came up with this really cool guitar part, and Jackson was like singing the song. And he was smiling. He was like, what about this, guys? And that really set off the whole thing. And then I got up on the bass. Max got back behind the Rhodes. So we had the verse, but we had the chorus. It felt real good. When we get to the end of the second chorus, there's this bridge. And to be completely transparent, I was never feeling the bridge to this song. And I don't think Max or Jackson was feeling the bridge. But I knew I wanted to get us into like some sort of jam section. Something that was going to be funky, something that we could feature some horns. So when we get to the bridge, it was Max that had the idea, why don't we lean into some more dominant chords? Here's the bridge. Oh yeah, I removed the Rhodes from the bridge. That's right. It felt, yeah, because when Aloe was here, we were like, ooh, let's make it feel even smaller. And so we started removing things. At the end of the bridge, we land on this F dominant. And we just grooved on this for a long time. And it was hard to stop because it was really fun. Pretty much, you know. And you know when it's fun, something good is happening. Because if we're having fun, I guarantee some listeners are going to have fun too. And then eventually, we get back to the chorus. But how are we going to get back to the chorus? Play the bridge again. That's all it is. And it feels kind of funky when we go to the chorus, but it feels right. Boom. There it is. And Aloe was super pumped. He booked a plane ticket, came up here, and we started working on the vocals. This is where it gets really fun. But Aloe, being a great singer, he was like, let me play with the pocket now. Now that there is this bed that you guys created, now I can react to it. Now, what's really fun about working with Aloe is, you know, he has a timbre to his voice that everybody's used to hearing. Like when you hear I Need a Dollar, or you hear Wake Me Up, or you hear I'm the Man. But I recognized right away with working with Aloe that this guy is capable of so many different timbres and has a very, very big range, which is so much fun as a producer to work with a singer that can sing. And so he started playing around with, maybe we could use a little more air in my voice. And when he started singing like that, I was like, oh yeah, let's do that. I've never heard you on a record sounding like this. So let's just listen to Aloe solo for a second. You and me, we used to be together. I think he really liked that hauntingness, that eeriness that you heard from Gwen's voice against our groove. He wanted to lean into that. I can't believe this could be the end. And then, of course, we added some background vocals. You're letting go. And if it's real, well, I don't want to know. Don't speak. Hey. I know just what you're saying. Ooh, when that chorus hits, every time it gets me. It's so funky. Don't tell me 'cause it hurts. All right, so we got the rhythm section, we've got the vocals, then the last ingredient is the horns. So I mentioned that band Attica. We've got Daniel Casares on saxophone, and then the trumpet player in that band is this guy named Mike Olmos. Some people call him the Hitman. So it was a real collaboration between the three of us. I love D'Angelo, I love Jay Dilla, I love Questlove, but we live in the Bay Area, and one of the greatest horn bands of all time is Tower of Power. Attica, we love to pay tribute to Tower of Power, not only in the music that we write, but also the music that we cover. We love to cover Tower of Power, or those bands that we refer to as like East Bay Grease, bands like Cold Blood, Sly and the Family Stone, Graham Central Station, and of course Herbie Hancock and the Headhunters. We love all that stuff. But when you think about horn arrangements, there's no better band out here than Tower of Power, in my humble opinion. To get away from that Roy Hargrove just brass sound, we need some other elements that is like some Bay Area shit. And Daniel is a great tenor saxophonist, but I feel like one of his secret weapons is also the baritone sax. And when you get the baritone sax in there and you start getting these little setups Well, then all of a sudden it's ours. It's the Bay Area. Now we've molded all these different worlds together, and it becomes a true funk record, in my opinion. Let's go through this a little bit. I'm going to go to the bridge because we're talking about the baritone sax, and I feel like it gets highlighted really beautifully here. We gotta stop pretending who we are. Here we go. You hear those right? Huh. That is a little nod to Tower of Power. And I was like, what is that? And Mike was like, Funkifies. I was like, hell yeah, let's do some shit like that. So hear it against the rhythm section. You get Aloe stacking those vocals that don't speak. And then we lean into it a little bit more. When we were jamming, Max Jackson and I started playing this thing on the bass. This boom, 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 boom. Here, let me just show you. Oh, I remember when we locked it on that. We were like, oh, shit. Let's keep going. We're all like looking at each other through the glass. So when that bass part hits, I told the horns, I was like, let's lead into that Funkifies kind of thing against the bass. Check it. Hey. And then, of course, it felt like a party, so I wanted to make a party. So I overdubbed myself. Sounded like a party. And I was like clanking on Coca-Cola bottles in the percussion section, so it kind of felt like we were like in a bar or some shit. All right. That is a great moment to chop everything out. I love to do things in the drums rather than use drum fills to transition us into certain sections. I like to remove everything. And this is something I've got from just listening to DJs who have faders, and they'll just drop the fader out. You hear it on hip-hop records, but you don't necessarily hear it in records that have live bands. So if you look in here, I just chopped out all the space out of every instrument. So you get this sound to highlight the horns. Yeah. You leave the party in there because then it glues it all together. It feels like it's still live. Yeah. So we were almost done tracking the vocals on this song. That part at the end where Gwen Stefani, it sounds like it was maybe improvised in the studio, where she goes, hush, hush, darling. Instead of it just being a solo voice doing it, why don't we stack harmonies and we'll experiment with some close harmonies. And to me, one of the kings of background vocals, close harmonies, is Michael McDonald's work on Steely Dan records. And so I was like, we could do, a bit of a Michael McDonald thing. So when we got to that part, he sang it on the lead vocal, and then I was like, all right, let's stack all these vocals together, and you get this. Hush, hush, darling. Hush, hush, darling. Hush, and then he took another part that Gwen sang, this part. Hush, hush, I know you're good. I know you're real good. And it was just this amazing moment. And I remember playing it back for Aloe in the control room, and he was like, oh, shit. Because not only are the harmonies like close and got this kind of Michael McDonald vibe, but there's also, because of the chords we're all playing, it almost has like this, it's like Belle Biv DeVoe or something, or New Edition or something like that. Let's hear it all together. Hey. Get Aloe in there. I know you're good. I know you're real good. I know you're real good. This is it. Don't speak, don't speak. Aloe, killing it. And I don't need no reasons. Don't tell me 'cause it hurts. Don't tell me 'cause it hurts. So anyway, that's the breakdown of Don't Speak from Aloe Blacc's album Rock My Soul Volume 1, featuring all my homies, Max Cowan, Jackson Allen, Daniel Casares, and Mike Olmos, and of course myself. If you guys like this kind of content, please hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, leave a comment below. I'm going to break down some more tracks. Thanks for tuning in. Peace.